Welcome to Christian News TY.
Good morning. This is Mayor Lovith Anderson Jr. in the city of Lake City, and I'm coming to you today to talk about two topics that are weighing very heavy on our communities during this time. The first one is the COVID-19 virus pandemic that we are dealing with. Lake City, Williamsburg County, Florence, Darlington, Coward, Atlanta, all of us in the PD area, we're experiencing something that we've never experienced before. How many of you this past Sunday did not go to service on an Easter Sunday morning? I'm 60 plus years old, and I've never had where I never attended a sunrise service or a Sunday morning Easter service. When we look at what's going on in this area with this disease, with this pandemic that's going on, this pandemic is something that is very serious, and I urge everyone to take it very seriously. When they first gave the numbers out, they said no more than 1,000 people gathering together at one time. Then they cut that in half and said no more than 500 gathering together at one time. And then they went back the next time, they said no more than 200. And then they said no more than 100. Then they said no more than 50. Then they said no more than 10. And now they say no more than 3. So that tells us that something is very serious out there. And if we don't protect ourselves or do the things that will help us prevent from getting this coronavirus, then we're going to be a real sick community. If you know, some of the instructions we were given is, one is simply as washing your hands constantly. And in washing your hands, that also means wash and clean, keep your cell phones clean. Don't put your hands all on your face and in your mouth and your lips and your nose and all that other stuff. And it also talks about how we as a community must make sure that when we're out in the public, unlike I am at this particular moment, we should be wearing masks on our face. The other thing is distancing ourselves from each other. It is recommended that we stay 6 feet away from each other. And if you're like me, most of us talk loud enough. If we're 6 feet apart from each other, we can still hear each other. So we've got to be cautious of what we're doing and what's going on in our community. I'm standing here on Moore Street in Lake City, right across the street from Greater St. James AME Church, and you will note that we have a signboard behind me. And note the message that is on it. Cover your cough. Please cover your cough. Wash your hands. Please wash your hands. And stay your distance. Make sure you stay 6 feet away from each other. It is vitally important because we don't know all the ramifications. Also, we need to be aware that there are people that are walking around that are carrying this virus that honestly don't know that they have it. And then there's some that may know they have it and they're not wanting to go and be quarantined for 14 days. So we have to be aware of what's going on around us. Last but certainly not least is we want to talk about our 2020 census. This pandemic shows one insight to why the census is so valuable to us. When we think about any medical supplies, the amount of hospital beds, the amount of ventilators and medication and things that we would need, if the government was to send us these supplies and once we request them, they're going to do it based on what our 2010 census was. So it is vitally important that we participate in it. It doesn't take long to complete it, about 10 minutes. And when you think about it, all our kindergarten children, our newborns that are coming into the world, our elementary school kids, our junior high kids, our high school kids, our college kids, all of these numbers have to be involved in this count for us to get adequate funding for what we need to be able to do in our community. How many of you ride on these highways that we always got these potholes and all these other things in it that knock our cars out of line? Well, that's meant the funding for those items are done by our population count. So we need to let them know that there's a lot of people that travel our roads. There's a lot of people that live in rural areas that need these community services. So I'm really reaching out to our rural areas and our small towns. We need to emphasize that we need to be counted. Everyone counts in this new 2020 census. Right now, Lake City is at about a 40+% return on the census count. So that means we got 60% of the population that's noted that has not done their census forms yet. So we still got a little time to go, but let us not wait until the last minute to get this done. So we're at about 42%. That means we got about 58% more to go. So we want to strive hard to get this done. I urge my brothers and my sisters in the other small communities and small towns and in our native Williamsburg County, Florence County, we need to get out and stimulate our communities to count ourselves and make sure that we have adequate representation. Our lines for our House of Representatives will be redrawn based on this count. Our funding for hospitals, for schools, after school daycare, and other items will be funded by our count in this 2020 census. Our churches need to know who, where, what, and how. Who do we have here? So I urge you to get out and be counted. A child that's less than 10 years old now, if they're not counted in this 2020 census, they won't get counted again until 2030. If we've got 2 seniors, 3 seniors, or how many seniors we have, and we only turn in 50 and we have 100, we're only going to get funding for 50 seniors. So it is imperative. Young folk, help your grandparents. Middle-aged folk, make sure that you get your families together. College students, make sure you're counted where you are. Nursing homes, we need to make sure that they're counted. Hospitals, we need to make sure that they're counted. Prison population needs to be counted. So we all need to be accounted for. So I'm urging you to get out and get counted 2020, because we all count. Thank you.
The facts remain the same. Please share this video.